Hi there, it's Terrance again. Whoa, that's not good. But we're going to do this live. Hopefully, a few folks joining us here in a second. All right. Apologize for the camera work. I'm on my. I'm on the phone again. I set up my laptop and it didn't work again, so that's fine. Let's see. So Brian Cole, welcome. Esther's watching, welcome. Okay. All right. So just make sure this is working. Can either of you guys type a comment? No comments. All right. Okay, we'll give it another minute, see if we have any other folks joining us. Oh, Esther says it's working. Great. All right, it's going a little bit better than last time, so I'll just get started. We picked up a third viewer somewhere. Really breaking the ratings tonight. I guess I'm just that boring to listen to. But as we know, of course, tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day. So even if you do nothing else, annoy someone you know, check your own registration, make sure that everyone that you know and that you have around you is registered to vote. If your chapter or any local organization is hosting an event in a location, please attend, encourage people to attend. And as always, if people can't make it on National Voter Registration Day, they can still talk to their local clerk. And they can go to the website, myvote.wi.gov, and check their registration status. Okay. So I've got 6 people watching. Fantastic. So someone should have a question by now. So we don't have long tonight. We've got about 30 or 40 minutes. Anything you want to ask, anything you want to know about OWR? We've had a little bit going on today. As some of you may realize, we announced an endorsement. OWR has endorsed Tony Evers for governor, and we endorsed one of our favorite members, of course, Mandela Barnes, for lieutenant governor. So that was announced today. We have a few other endorsements that are going to be coming out in the next 24 hours or so. I don't want to announce it here because I don't know if all the candidates are aware of that or not. I'm not sure we were able to reach everyone this afternoon. So I'll just wait on those. So for now, all right, let's get in some questions. I see some folks on here that should be able to challenge things a little bit. Any topic you want. We're on voter registration tonight, so come on. I know someone has something. So while we're on the topic of voter registration and get out the vote, one of the advantages that OWR has is that we do have a significant number of tools at our disposal. We have a pretty robust email system in terms of the Action Network. We have about 11,000 folks in our system. We have text with Relay and Hustle, so we do have texting services. We have dial-in, we have the Bernie dialer, as we call it, but it's the national dialer. So if you have affiliate organizations or partners, especially groups that have endorsed the same candidates, when we do call time for those candidates, these would not be parties, but other groups of volunteers. Certainly we want to encourage them to join us and get as much of it as possible. I know we're going to do some text time for Lori Hawkins, who's running in the 21st Senate District. We're going to do that this week on Thursday, but we're going to have a schedule up and just kind of run through everyone. I think after today, we will have 32 candidates endorsed across the state. And Cynthia asked, can you tell us about activities across the state, up north, south, etc.? I think mainly the activity we're engaged in right now is really combining forces for Get Out the Vote. I know I'll start a little bit further up north, so that's Wolf River. Wolf River has been active. Uh, Actually, the whole area has been active, but I'll give a shout out to Wolf River. They've been helping Ken Holdorf quite a bit as he runs for the assembly in the 89th district. So they've been uh, canvassing, calling, putting up signs, just doing everything that they possibly can to give Ken a hand up there. I know in the southeast, we have a new chapter starting up in Janesville. So they've been meeting. Let's see. Oh, I'll finish my statement on the southeast. They've been meeting, and we're spreading across kind of west to east instead of east to west in CD1. Uh, Gosh, I know Joni Anderson's having an initial meeting in Anderson. I know Charlie and Al in Madison are coordinating a lot of Get Out the Vote efforts. New chapter forming in Wausau as well. So a lot going on around the state. That's kind of a tough question, what's going on everywhere, but a good one, that's fine. Another question from Cynthia, is National OWR planning any more Wisconsin endorsements or support? That is a yes. So far they've endorsed or announced endorsement for Lori Hawkins in the 21st Senate District. There will be a total of, or we're shooting for, I can't speak on what the total will be. We're hoping for 5 OWR endorsed candidates across the state to be supported by OWR National as well. Some with material support, some in name only. But yes, National Our Revolution is planning to support more of OWR's endorsements across the state. Good question. So I think I forgot to mention that Lori Hawkins was now a nationally endorsed candidate for our Wisconsin Revolution, and she also has a meet and greet tomorrow in Milwaukee that I think is on her Facebook page. She's actually going to have a meet and greet at the bar where she and her husband met and used to meet and plan their future when she was a teacher in Milwaukee. And I'm not sure if they planned her future being a state senator, but that looks like it's going to work out, but not without our hard work. And Brian, I see you had to pull over to ask a question. I appreciate that. Safe driving is encouraged. I'm not that exciting to listen to, that one should take such risks. All right. Brian Cole, any statewide action for Tony Evers, Mandela, or Baldwin? We are having call time. We are writing postcards. We are sending emails. It is a part of the combined canvassing that we're doing as well. So when we're out canvassing for one of the already endorsed candidates, we've already been mentioning our statewide endorsed candidates. So for example, if you're out canvassing for Gina Walkington, who's running in Kenosha County in the 61st Assembly District, then we've been mentioning Josh Call and Sarah Godlewski, and the same will continue for Tony Evers, Mandela Barnes, and Tammy Baldwin's been a part of that from the beginning. So yes, we've been dropping lit as far as statewide action, statewide call time, statewide texting. Yes, we're going to be doing that as well. Having only announced endorsement for Tony and Mandela today, we don't have a schedule up yet. But as we said, we're going to walk through that for all the candidates. This week, we're primarily focused on Get Out the Vote. But that nice last 30-day push, can't believe it's going to come up on 30 days soon, before the election. Yes, you're going to get sick of hearing from us, hopefully. And of course, hitting doors. Everything else is great, videos are great, advertising's great, but nothing really matters in a campaign more than knocking on doors and having conversations. And that's something being, the people in the campaign that we came from, that we're pretty good at that. So that is something we're going to do. Brian said not a chance of not hitting doors, or not a chance of... What do we have not a chance of doing? It's very cryptic. What's the strategy after election to keep our electeds progressive? That is a fantastic question, Cynthia, because everyone tells you what you want to hear during campaign season. With local elected officials, that becomes a little bit easier, right? If you elect an alderperson or county board supervisor, that's fairly easy. You can walk into a meeting and get face to face with them pretty quickly. For statewide offices, I think this is where you kind of have to start to gently nudge some of the candidates that you support while they're running for office. I don't want to say that we're going to necessarily beat anyone up, but yeah, we will. I mean, basically, it's straightforward. If you agree with our platform, just so you can get in office, we haven't done this yet. To be perfectly honest, we've discussed it and thought about it. But just because you have an endorsement doesn't mean you'll keep it. So, we'll try and communicate with those that we have elected. We don't have a process right now or plans to begin rescinding endorsements, but as the head of the endorsement committee, we will have one. So if you take a hard turn after you get elected, there should be consequences for that. And I think that too often, a lot of groups and a lot of parties and a lot of what have devolved into these kind of monolithic demagogue following tribes that we have now that dominate the political landscape. Yeah, I tripped over that word. Political landscape. Do nothing to hold people accountable. Absolutely nothing whatsoever. So for us, that needs to be another place where we stand out. So if you agreed with the platform to get people to volunteer for you and to go out and spend their time and their money supporting you, and you were only pretending to support them, we need to remind you of that. And hopefully their constituents will do a good job, but that's a part of running for office. Some things change and aren't possible. Some things that you promise when you get into office realize, well, that can't be done the way that I envisioned, but I think the communication needs to stay there. And that's one reason that we encourage at the board level, at the chapter level, that everyone reach out to and they're in touch with their elected officials. Call, email, attend public meeting time, express your opinion, and show up, especially if it's a local office. You can go to your common council meetings, you can go to your county board meetings, and showing up and being aware of what's going on and having the opportunity to shake your representative's hand and tell them your opinion can be rather meaningful to people. So that's something that I would encourage for you to do. At a national level, you're kind of restricted to emails, but you can still apply for FaceTime. You probably won't get it, but that's difficult, and we also have a very broad platform. So I think the key on that one is communication, what decisions are being made and why, and actually paying attention to voting records, which is something that I think we all do a pretty bad job of sometimes. But thank you, Cynthia. And thank you, Brian. Trust me, it's pretty easy for people to get tired of me. Do we have anything else? I can't see everyone's names at this point. I see Esther is on. Oh, and my state rep, Todd Onstead, is on. See, there you go. There you go, Cynthia. There's transparency in action right there when your elected officials actually show up to hear what their constituents think, which is an advantage we have in southeastern Wisconsin that the rest of the state doesn't really enjoy too much. We have very accessible elected officials. So Todd Onstead, Peter Barca, Bob Wirch, those aren't guys you have a problem getting in to see or getting in touch with at all. It's the opposite of what I hear in a lot of parts of Wisconsin, so we got pretty lucky down here. Kenosha as a whole, even if your alderman or county supervisor doesn't like you, they'll still talk to you a little bit. Let's see, Brian, Esther, anyone else? Okay. Brian, I'm going to have some time on my hands this weekend leading up to Election Day, including Election Day. Any suggestions for where my time can be best spent? Be willing to go to other communities. Or drive people to vote if necessary. No, that's great, Brian. And that's a very good point. If you live in an area that has pretty good turnout and things seem like they're leaning pretty heavily your way, I know that Charlie Uphoff in Madison has a map of low turnout wards, and I know we always see you down here, but you're in Dane County, right, Brian? I think you're in Dane. Kind of guessing. But there are always going to be folks that are going to need a ride on that day. As far as coordinating in your local area, I'm not certain. If I knew where you were, I'd be able to put you in touch with someone. But I think your best effort is always in get out the votes. We've lost probably 20% of our voting public in terms of enrollment in the last year and a half or so. I know I live in Kenosha County, and we've lost 20% of our registered voters in the last year. If you go back to April of 2017 to right now, we've lost almost 20,000 folks, I think high 19,000s. So voter registration is definitely where it's at. If you have time to do that, that's your biggest bang for the buck, always. But thank you for being very willing to do that. And again, if you're looking for target areas or canvases that we have scheduled for voter reg, we can definitely put you in touch with one wherever you are. If there isn't one where you are, thank you for volunteering to lead it. Okay. So who's next? I fear I may have a little bit of lag here. Hold on, let me move this down a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now I can see all the comments. That was my fault. Western Dane County, so Cynthia Burnson, any short-term replacement for Max? Yes. We've spread that work out a little bit amongst board members, and then we have a few folks we're bringing on and looking at as part-time staffers. It's how we want to manage it, and maybe as a strategy, spread things out a little bit. I think for us, having our full-time staff, not necessarily geographically concentrated, but certainly in the lower half of the state 100% of the time, and having everyone drive out and reach out was a little bit inefficient, so we'll see how that goes. So we've worked with some folks and tried a few already. Some are working out, some are not. It's a little difficult to pick up everyone's schedule in the fall. You have a lot of students, of course, people working full-time, but yeah, we're working on it as we lead up to election. Those of you that don't know, Cynthia is referring to Max Love, who was our political director, who had to take a leave of absence, and be it untimely. We're rolling with the punches. We adapt pretty well. We're Bernie people. Brian Cole, I've already worked with the Dane County Voter Coalition, and we're volunteering tomorrow at one of the libraries. It's fantastic, so thank you very much for participating in National Voter Registration Day. One thing you can do is maybe reach out not just to individuals in the communities around you, but to clerks in the communities around you. See if anyone needs any volunteers on election day. See if they have enough poll workers. That's one area we can help out as well. It's one we don't think of very often, but and we like to talk about mistakes at the polls, but poll workers are human. They get tired. It's a long day. And the more folks we have that are trained to do that and assist people, the better. So if there's somewhere that you can help the Madison City Clerk, the clerk in your municipality, or in a neighboring municipality, that would be awesome for you to do. So thank you. And yes, Cynthia, Max isn't replaceable. We're not going to replace Max. It's just um, we have a lot going on, but luckily we have a board with a ton of experience, and we're able to let Max explore an opportunity for himself in this period of time, do something he needed to do, and keep rolling with it. And we can register to vote until October 17th, says Esther, which is correct. We can register to vote until October 17th. And then after that, you need to go to your clerk's office. And if you don't know already, you visit myvote.wi.gov. Okay. Now that I've figured out the scroll, next question. So I'll go back to for a minute addressing your local clerk. Despite the high attendance of this, we'll probably need to share it to get it out to more folks after we conclude here tonight. But talking to your local clerk and offering assistance is actually very important. We can't just criticize people for not being able to get things done. If they don't have the staff that they need to thoroughly conduct an election, it makes it very difficult for them to do that. So contact them, ask them if they need help, ask if they need volunteers, lend your expertise or be willing to be trained, and make sure that we have enough staff at polling locations on election day. And also ask those clerks to encourage voter registration themselves. Again, very lucky here in Kenosha, our elected officials, our county clerk, city clerk, mayor, county executive, one of the leaders of our county board actually held a press conference promoting National Voter Registration Day. So, I don't know. For now, we're officially the coolest city in Wisconsin. It's not going to be a Democratic discussion. We just are. I see a few folks cycling in and out. One type of question. Even if it's something you know the answer to that other folks may not, just go ahead and throw a question out there. So at least if someone watches the replay, they can see the answer. So we talked about voting, we talked about clerks, we talked about endorsed candidates. So I guess that's something that we need to take a second to do. We had so many people run this year for the first time, some of our own members that went out and ran for the first time this year. So many that I know are running in tough districts. I live in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm in Kenosha County. So, again, Catherine Galkey, Dr. Brittany Keys, Gina Walkington, Lori Hawkins, Joel Jacobson. A lot of people running in tough, fairly adverse districts here. But a number of people that are running for the first time across the state. It's a lot to take on. It takes a lot of guts. So the least we can do is support them. If you don't want to support people directly, just getting them to the polls. Getting as many people out voting helps us as much as possible. Esther asks, is there a way to help candidates that we like, not in our district, but OWR endorsed? Yes, that goes back to our having call time, sending emails. So when they come up on the schedule, you can do that. But also, now we're a 501c4, so we don't offer direct support. We're not a political party. But you can't always, as an individual, reach out to that campaign, that individual, and just say, well, I'd like to volunteer. We take no issues with that. We're nonpartisan. We have members that, believe it or not, volunteer both ways. No one ever believes that, but that's true. We actually have what I consider a decent number of Republicans, which is a good thing. Decent number of those that are libertarian. Decent number that are, we have a few in the Constitution Party. Our friends in the Green Party. We're spread out all over the place, which is why we're so hard to figure out for folks sometimes. It's called being pragmatic and actually just being people that want to get things done, which I kind of enjoy. But yes, you can always reach out individually to a candidate and volunteer, and if they're OWR endorsed, absolutely. And if they don't have anything going on, get in touch with your local CD rep or get in touch with your board, and we will put something together or put you in touch with comms director Grace or chapter leaders in that area to let you know what's going on. But that is a good question. Thank you. We're at 8:42. A few more minutes here. Might stretch it a little longer. All right. So another thing you could do to help OWR endorse candidates that are not in your district is to reach out to other progressive groups, other organizations that are in their district, and encourage them to support that candidate as well. We try to do that, but if you want to make a personal appeal, all of us have about, 5 million Facebook friends at this point. Look at that list, look at where people live, shoot someone a message, shoot them an email, ask them to see what they can do to volunteer. You can be pretty creative about it. Or if nothing else, one thing that's fantastic is you can just use the social media contacts that you have. When you get a text message about a candidate that you like or that you support, think if there's someone in that area or someone in your area you can forward that to. They might appreciate getting it. Or if they don't appreciate getting it, forward it anyway. Sometimes those are fun. But beyond that, sometimes for, especially these new candidates that I'm talking about, it's just name recognition. So if you haven't been out there running forever and ever, and this isn't, your 5th campaign, people might not always know who you are. And not being one to take corporate money, it might be hard for you to get TV time or ad time building up your campaign. So let folks know that candidate exists. Advertise for them, post for them, support them, follow them, share things that they say that you agree with, ask questions. Okay. We're coming up on time here. Any final salvos? Anyone have anything else? All right, I know we had the local leader call for OWR right before this, so I know a lot of folks were able to get on earlier, and we'll try and do this earlier next time, maybe more in prime time, to give people a chance to log on. As always, if you wish to become a member of OWR, just visit the website, or you can click the sign up bar that's on the Facebook page. We ask and dues $10 a month, for which you get a lot of great tools and get to support a lot of people in your community. But the min donation is $2 a month, and there's even a waiver for that financial obligation because, quite frankly, in this day and age, that's a lot to ask of some folks, and we respect that. And that's also kept confidential. So again, yes, join OWR, become a sustaining and voting member. If you want to have an impact on who gets endorsed and how the organization moves forward, you have to be a sustaining, donating member. Brian Cole says, make sure to do this again. I will. I'm getting better at it. Not really. I have a whole laptop set up and it won't work, so I'll be stuck with my phone for a little while. But thank you very much. All right, I can hang on from it. If anybody have anything else, you're welcome, Esther. I see your thank you. All right, well, if that's it, again, thank you very much. Participate in Voter Registration Day, National Voter Registration Day. If you can't get to it tomorrow, participate in voter registration every day. Join and become a sustaining member of OWR. Dues are reasonable, and we work with everyone. So again, thank you for joining, and do something. Good night.